It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Mandy the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Oh.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Yep.
Sweet.
All right, I hope everybody out there is doing okay. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Oh, man. Too much.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I did get some movies watched this weekend. I had a project going on, which involved a pencil organizer and tearing my desk apart. So, first thing I watched was Les's favorite movies. I watched Rob Zombie's Halloween. And you know, I Mikey, stop recording for a minute. I wouldn't admit this, but I was rewatching those, and after seeing the others and everything else, I can see why people don't like them. I really can. I think I'm kind of biased on them because it's, you know, Rob Zombie. I grew up listening and idolizing him, you know. So, but I tried to get together with some of my movie buddies to watch the Blumhouse Halloweens. No luck. Everybody's either sick or working, so I watched those by myself. You know?
Should have called me.
I should have, yeah. I watched the first two. I didn't watch the third one. At that point, someone had told me that Wild Robot was finally streaming, so I finished up the second one with, what was that, Halloween Kills? And I did finally get to watch Wild Robot. I have been so excited to watch this movie. When people first started comparing it to Iron Giant, it was like, I have to see this. I didn't see the parallels between this and Iron Giant. A cute movie, yes. Did I cry? Yes. But other than being lost robots, that's really the only thing these two had in common with each other. So I don't know why people kept saying it was like Iron Giant. I guess maybe a big robot. I don't know. But I would even think that the Iron Giant was bigger than Ross was. Call me crazy. But I don't know. I liked it. They said that it has been the best thing to happen to DreamWorks. They've never pulled the numbers and the money in like they have off of this movie. So good luck. Good for them. I'm always happy when I see things like this come forward. Oh, that's one reason why I'm happy about that was animation style. At first I was looking at it and it's like, you know, this isn't it. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't like I can't even say it. Cell shading, like the old, like Cinderella and that kind of thing. But it wasn't quite the CGI that we have now that most cartoons are becoming. It was kind of like if you mix the two. That's what this one was. It was kind of a almost, I don't want to say rude drawing, but kind of, I guess, crude in some points. It wasn't real well defined, and not that it mattered because, like I said, it was absolutely beautiful however they did this. But I don't think I've seen anything done that way before. So if they did it with CGI, hey, hats off, because they've definitely found a trick that the other guys haven't yet. So maybe that's why it's doing well. I also think it's doing well because, like I said, it's a cute story. It has, I've never been able to pronounce her name, but she's Michonne from Walking Dead. What is it? Not Nagaya Lepato, something like that. Anyway, she plays the robot, and yeah, like I said, really, really good job. I know most people looked at it and was like, this is a kid's movie. It's really not. I mean, there's a lot of death in it. It is a nature movie, which I thought was interesting that they didn't shy away from that. Like the fox is eating like animals and stuff, and the whole reason she gets this gosling is because she fell on top of his family, and they like show you this. So it's I wouldn't have necessarily pegged this as a kids movie. If so, you definitely need to have a few talks before and after this film with them. Nothing like Clifford was. It still is, it is kind of shocking in parts. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, I would definitely say go watch this one. It's definitely a cute story. Have your Kleenex near.
So it had its own Bambi versus Godzilla moment, huh?
Kind of. I mean, they do come looking for this robot, but the whole premise of the movie, though, was kind of her figuring out how to be a mom. She was programmed to help people, and when she gets sidetracked, it wasn't there's no task for her. So this little bird becomes her task, and she kind of goes through the ups and downs. I won't just say mom, I'm saying mom because she is a girl in this one, but the ups and downs that a parent would have, kids are mad at you and they yell and scream and they hate you, Although I've never had my kids say they hated me. They probably thought it, but they've never voiced it. Probably because they'd be eating their teeth. But anyways,
good
yeah.
For them. Smart choice.
Guys, it sounds like she's not seen Bambi versus Godzilla.
I guess I haven't seen Bambi versus Godzilla.
It's an animated movie, and it lasts a few seconds because Godzilla steps on Bambi, and that's it.
Oh, man. Yeah. Kind of his family, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. It has its own Bambi versus Godzilla moment.
Yeah, it definitely had that. And then, like, in one part of this, there's like a winter time where she's trying to help everybody. And, it plainly tells you that a lot of the animals died. It just got too cold. So it was kind of like, wow, Kleenex 50 on that one. But it was cute, though.
You number your Kleenexes?
Right, I did. I keep them on my desk,
Number 9.
Definitely cute. I can see why it's getting the praise and the numbers that it is. I think right now, Rotten Tomatoes has it at like 98% and the audience score of 92. So, if Rotten Tomatoes is like, yay, it's pretty damn good. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what I've done. I figured out I need some new backup movie buddies. When they get sick, it just sucks, So, shout out to Raspberries. Hope you get feeling better. Yeah. But no.
Raspberry to raspberries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I've just kind of, I guess the spring kind of kicked in early for me, and I've been tearing the house up, cleaning, and.
This is a fake spring, you know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's Indian. It's Indian spring.
See, I am Indian, so
Yeah, it's just
Maybe
Texas
that's
winter.
it.
That's all. Texas winter has a few springs in it. That's all there is to it. It's perfectly normal. Happens every year. Some
It
reason people
does?
freak out every year too, and absolutely the mountain cedar freaks out every year. But
It's pretty shocking when you go from 30 to 80, though. It's pretty shocking.
it is.
My body's like, screw this, one way or the other.
There are
I don't know
places
if
in
I
the world
should.
that are worse, that have bigger leaps of temperature.
Oh yeah, I have a friend in Michigan, and he sent me a text where he's like at minus 12 right now. So it's like, oh, I won't tell you I'm sitting in shorts right now,
Mm.
sweating my ass off in Texas.
Yeah, I know a dude lives in Ottawa, and they regularly have like, and I'm not even gonna bother converting to Celsius, but they'll go from like 80 degrees to like 20 below
Dang,
overnight.
that's crazy. Isn't that what the desert does too, though?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind 70s. Like last week when we were like 70, 73. I like that. Where it's just a touch. If you get in the shade, it's kind of chilly, but if you stand in the sun, you're fine. Like I know anything about standing in the sun, but
Right.
I've heard.
Right. There are legends that.
Right. I've ride like a little piggy in the sun, so I try not to do that much.
I listened to the latest Mash Matters podcast, and and Jeff Maxwell was talking about the location where they were filming the MASH unit. He talks about how it being so unbearably hot during the day, and at night it's freezing cold.
Where'd they film at?
Out there in California.
Yeah, desert.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, that's crazy. That's how people die.
Plus all the insects and yellow jackets and all that kind of stuff.
Right. It's not just the weather trying to take you out, it's the whole freaking world at that point.
Uh-huh.
Well, he just said that, when they were doing I don't know if it was a tour or whatever it was for like the anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
They were out there one morning, and a kid got attacked by a bobcat.
Damn.
Yikes.
And it took several people to get the kid away and scare the bobcat away. Like, ouch! That's not really what I want to do if I want to go visit the set.
Right.
Hell, we had bobcats out here a couple years ago.
Oh, we still do.
Yeah. Someone posted their Ring camera where one had a dog, so yeah.
We have some weird wildlife out here.
And it's crazy because I have a creek that pretty much runs through my backyard. I've never seen things like that. That people report coyotes and all that other kind of thing, and it seems like they would be close to where there's a water source, but I don't really see them a lot. Maybe the park is enough distraction. They go swing instead of eat my dogs. I don't know. Especially now that they put the state park there.
I mean, you're not that far out, so it's like maybe they're just not straying that far in that much. I don't know.
That creek runs all through Garland.
Yeah.
And through Dallas. So it's it would be a good, less traffic area for them to travel through and stuff too.
There was reports of coyote over here.
Mm-hmm.
Here within the last several months, because I know my sister said something to me about it.
I've seen those posted too. And I don't know. I guess having a big dog, I'm not really concerned about my little dog. They pretty much keep everything out of the yard,
Yeah.
But it's never anything you should get lax with, of course, because like I said, I have a creek that runs through my backyard,
Right.
Unlike my farm that has the freaking Brazos running through the backyard. Now we've definitely seen more coyotes and bobcats out that way.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
That is a little further out from
Yeah.
civilization.
Wild pigs. Well, hell, they've been without water for almost a month now, so even the town's uncivilized. More.
Hey, I wasn't going to go there, but I also wasn't making any
And,
assumptions.
man, it's crazy. Okay, I'm sure I've broadcasted about this little town before, but they, like I said, they've been without water for about a month now. See, we have well water, so it's kind of like, who cares? But they've been, the city's dragging their heels. They've claimed a state of emergency because I guess they're hoping that Abbott will come in and fix this mess, which, face it, he's not. Nobody cares about Marlin, But citizens are finally, enough is enough. They're coming together.
The world's worst city slogan.
Right. But it seems like any time they get a solid plan together, someone comes along. Now, this is going to sound totally hypocritical of me, but someone will come along and go, well, what about the dogs? We got to do something about the dogs. Okay, bitch, we haven't had water in a month. Okay, you guys haven't been able to shower, wash your clothes, wash your dishes, wash anything, clean your home. And, not saying I don't care about the dogs because you guys know where my heart is, but sometimes you have to take things that are more pressing. You have to put that aside and get freaking water. What the hell? But it's just, it's bad. It's so bad. If you guys ever just want a little chuckle and, want to feel great about the little town you live in, look up Marlin, Texas. And I guarantee the first thing that pops up is either the water situation or the state of Texas taking away their education accommodations, or the dogs where, they killed all those dogs and everything else. There's nothing good that ever comes up about this little town, which is why I'm glad I live out of town. And Phil, one day we'll eventually move there and it's like, oh man.
Like, why would we do that?
Yeah, slow down. I feel like Green Acres. Honey, I love you, but give me Park Avenue. Right. I don't know about being a farmer.
No. Green Acres was last week.
Right. I live Green Acres. But yeah, like I said, if you ever want to feel good, search Marlin, Texas. Yeah. And I told you guys about SpaceX 30, 40 miles down the road. He's now talking about buying that whole area and renaming it and everything else. So to say that place has come up is an understatement. He has done so much in that little town. They've got roads. They definitely have water right now. But just the businesses have been booming and everything else. So if I was them, I'd be like, go for it, dude. Most of those little towns are almost ghost towns because people get inherited property and stuff, and nobody wants to go out and raise cows. If I wasn't married to a weirdo, we would be raising cows right now. So, most of them go just setting for years. The houses fall in, and of course, when you have that problem, you've got mice and snakes and all kinds of things. So I say let them use that land.
And on that note, hi, Phil.
Hi, Phil.
He knows he's a weirdo.
I'm glad that's out now.
Yeah, I'm not the first one to tell him that, surprisingly.
Still alive?
Yeah. Heck, we've been together, over 30 years now, so he knows how I feel.
I can't imagine.
Right? which is why he's gone most of the time.
Ouch.
But yeah, that's it. Like I said, sorry I got sidetracked on Little Town.
Yeah, right.
I think it's crazy though. Imagine if Garland didn't have water for a month. I mean, and if they didn't have water, don't you think they'd pass out water and stuff too? Just because you can't drink the water, right? You can't even get water right now. And even when they fill the tanks back up, they're going to have to go through a boil notice. So you still can't drink the water. I think number one thing, start passing out water to people. Get the potable water trucks in town so people can wash their clothes and stuff, But no. That requires a brain and
town
thinking.
is big enough to have potable water trucks?
I'm not sure about
Maybe they
that
could
one.
mooch them off the county or something.
I think so, because they move water from the Brazos to the treatment plant because they have a contract with them or something.
Gonna
So
have pipes for that?
Maybe
Maybe
which
not.
one?
I don't know.
The 36 ones that are leaking right now?
Oh, is that the problem? Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's the big problem. And that's another reason why the roads are crap, because they don't want to fix the roads, because then they'll just have to tear it up to fix the pipes underneath them. So the whole town's just crap. And in the process, they've taken all these grants from Texas to fix this stuff, raised water bills and everything else, and the money's gone. Nobody can explain where any of this money went. There's like $30 million unaccounted for. Well, there you go. $30 million could have laid a lot of pipe,
That's what she said.
$30 million, I better get more than laid pipe.
Virginia Piccolini?
Do what?
Virginia Piccolini?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, I'll die with that. Thank you.
I was going to say, who's the mayor? The lady that was up there in Illinois that was doing all that shit?
Oh, jeez.
Right. Hayard. What was her name? Tiffany Hayard?
I don't remember.
She just had her wig snatched off her head at a meeting and a big fight. That's how our favorite mayor's doing.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, I think Marlin's biggest problem is leadership. The mayor they have now hasn't lived in Marlin for that long. She does live in Marlin, but and guess who's getting a new street in front of their house,
I give up.
They had asked her one of the grants that Texas just started last year, with repairing the infrastructure and stuff. We voted on a bond package for Texas. She's been telling everybody that we're getting this money from this bond because we meet all criteria, of course. So now we're finding out, no, they're not. Your rates were raised for nothing. You're paying back nothing because they didn't get it because she never filled out the applications to get it.
Right. We meet all of the requirements for this grant except for the filling out the application.
The application.
Part.
Well, of course, the news comes out and they're kind of like, hey, the commissioner up here is saying this is your fault. They can help you, but you're not asking for it. Oh, well, that was the city manager's, the previous, because she just came in office maybe within the last year. Well, that was the city manager's job. Well, bitch, guess who the city manager was before they were mayor? So it still falls right back on her. Why didn't you fill out the applications? They know we need it, but it needs to be on paper because, anything with the state's going to have a paper trail on it. It's like, damn.
Don't be logical. Come on.
It's crazy. And if for real big laughs, join their Facebook group. It's a hoot. The things that people have to find to bitch about. And it's like, you guys have been without water And this is what you're going to bitch about? Really? You know? Oh, and then someone said that we should be patient because they're working as hard as they can. No. I think for the last 20 years that this has been a problem, people have been patient, and that's the problem. Nobody's yelling. Nobody's rattling cages, you know? They ain't going to fix anything if nobody cares. Plus, after a month of no showers, we're tired of being patient. You know? And of course, they get me with, well, you don't even live here. I have a street with my name that runs through all of fucking town. Tell me I don't belong in Marlin, okay? That's my name. Well, it's Bill's name, but I married into this shit.
Yeah, blame it on Phil now.
Yeah.
Wow, that was
He's
quick.
the whole reason we're in Marlin. Yeah, I can't have a ranch in Colorado. No. It's got to be Marlin, Texas.
Hey now, be nice.
Yeah, right there on Phil Street.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. They're going to have to do something. I mean, you kind of hope that Texas just comes in and shuts the whole town down. Can they do that? Can they put them out of business? This is no longer a...
Probably not.
Right. Too bad, because...
I say probably because who the hell knows with Texas, but...
Right. They'd find a way. Annex them out.
Yeah, I was about to say it'd be annexed.
Yeah, Texas.
My understanding is that it is easier to form a township than it is to disband one.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
If they was smart, they'd get a hold of Elon and go, hey, we have some extra land over here.
Elon's kind of busy right now.
Yeah. Build us some water pipes.
He's got other things he's doing right now. So.
Oh, yeah. His Doge. You know, it's crazy. When the baby first started saying Doge, I just thought it was cute and just the way that she was saying dog. And then she started watching Roblox with me, and I found out that's the way they say that. Did you guys know that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy. It was a meme coin for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was actual cryptocurrency for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I still don't understand that.
Most
That's
people
like
don't.
that Hawk Tao girl and how she scammed everybody. And I watched the whole thing go down. And I've even listened to CoffeeZilla on it. And it's like, I don't understand. And, you know, this is me who I've worked in a virtual world for, 15 years now. But I still don't understand how people can give money for something that you can't hold or, you know what I'm saying? How is that I mean, well, see, now I'm cutting myself down when I say that. I know what I do. I spend hours 3D meshing and texturing and rigging and sometimes even coding now to get it to work in a virtual, you know, that's what you're paying for. You aren't paying for whatever little doodad that I'm throwing out there. You're paying for my time and my experience. What the hell are you paying for with a meme coin? A laugh? Or laugh for that much? So I don't get it. Maybe I need someone smart to break it down for me, but I don't get it.
The simplest way I could try to explain it is that if enough people decide that something is valuable, then it's valuable. Basic economics, really.
Right, but then you go to cash out.
Uh-huh.
How do you cash out when there's...
Somebody else buys it from you.
Yeah, I guess. So you're selling an ideal to people.
It's it's not exactly an idea. It's just not a tangible item.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, our financial system has worked that way for 50 years now.
True.
It's just a bunch of data flying around.
We
It's
don't
the same
have the
thing.
gold to
It's just
back
on
up
a
what
much
we
smaller
did.
scale.
Huh. Yeah, I guess I could see that, but I don't understand it.
You don't have
I
to.
like something I can cash out and go buy groceries. Oh shit! God damn! Shut up, Alexa. God, that scared me.
No kidding.
I didn't even say her name. I didn't need your help.
I opened.
Maybe she's triggered by the phrase, I don't get it.
Right? Because I don't know how to help you with that. Well, shit.
I opened the garage.
Right? I let the dogs out for you.
Woof, 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 woof.
Wow.
No, that was Siri. I'm sorry. That was Siri.
Good little heart starter.
Or stopper, depending on how you look at it.
Right? Oh, it's beating pretty fast right now.
I'm torn as to whether to leave that in or not.
Golly.
I'll leave it in.
That scared me. I thought somebody was standing next to me and I didn't see them. That's why it's...
Hello, Dave.
And given some
Taco
of the
can
stealthy
talk now?
people in your house, that's an understandable reaction, I think.
True. Brandon needs a bell around his neck for sure.
I agree.
Gain some weight so we can hear his feet on the floor, you know.
It's like the old classic joke. Why do cows wear bells? Because their horns don't work.
That's cute.
Go ahead and say it, Les.
Dad joke?
No. What you were starting to say a while ago.
I don't know.
You agree with the previous statement.
Thank you. I do come up with a few of them, but I forget them. Real easy, so.
It was a drive-by. Meow.
Oh. See, I automatically went to pop, 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 pop. That's the neighborhood I lived in.
Of course you did. Right.
Almost ducked.
I
was
would
thinking
say
when
who
we were young.
doesn't, but who knows?
All right. Well, if we're going to have a lull, I'm going to jump in.
Yep.
I'm just sad because I was going to try to make a wildfire joke with the movie, but I never got a chance to do it. So the song "Wildfire"
Yeah.
Oh.
with Wild Robot.
Oh, there is a forest fire in there.
Go ahead, Mike.
Doesn't work.
Please.
I'm going to try to save this, but I can't promise nothing.
Well, there's always less.
Absolutely.
You know I keep you on your toes.
My toes are tired at this point. I'm just saying.
How many years? 7, 8?
A lot.
Even longer with that one.
Okay, so I finally found an actual sci-fi movie to watch. After trying a few times and just not being satisfied with the results. This one actually kind of scratched a sci-fi itch, which I will admit I cheated a little. It's an H.G. Wells thing, so when in doubt, go back to the masters.
Right.
But what I watched was First Men in the Moon from 1964.
Oh yeah.
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 They are familiar, apparently.
It's been forever since I've seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, I had never seen it before. But I have to say, I actually liked it. It was a little jarring at first. It's essentially it's the story of modern times. I won't go too long about the plot here, but in modern times we finally land people on the moon, and the first thing they do is discover a British flag on the moon, and a note scrawled on a piece of paper saying that that the moon has been claimed for Queen Victoria.
So they tossed that in the trash real quick, didn't they?
And actually, no. They did the semi-responsible thing and took a picture of it and sent it back, and they started tracking because it was signed. There was a signature on it, had a name on it, and so they tried to track down the person to find out that she died, but somebody else that she knew is still around, and so they go talk to the old guy because he's got to be 100 years old at this point. Because, like I said, this movie is basically set in 1964. Well, then he goes into flashbacks back to 1899 when all this stuff happened, and it's this guy and his fiance at the time move into this cottage out in rural England, and their neighbor is an inventor, and he's created this substance which nullifies gravity. And his plan is he's going to fly to the moon with this thing. He's built himself a ship, and he's going to get it all together, and he's going to fly it to the moon. And so these two, the dude and his fiance, get dragged into it. So much so that it ends up being her signature on the claim. But that's a different part of the story. And so, yeah, there's the whole 95% of the movie is the flashback of their trip to the moon. And it's pretty entertaining. There's enough action to keep things moving. Maybe more action and less thinking than you'd kind of like to see in a movie like this, but that's kind of also not surprising. An interesting female role, considering it's based in Victorian times. Not necessarily a progressive female role, but an interesting one. And there's actually even some attempts at comedy at the beginning. I'm not sure how well it actually goes over, but they tried. They tried to be funny. The scientist was intended to be funny, and basically until he wasn't. So, but still, it adds a little bit of depth to the whole thing. So characters are vaguely interesting. I mean, the most boring character is actually the lead, which is a good place to be, honestly. He's just the guy running around doing stuff. He doesn't have to have much personality. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty entertaining movie. Special effects by Ray Harryhausen. So that's also a big plus because there's some really cool looking stuff in there. Actually, it's funny because the thing he gets the most credit for is actually probably the weirdest looking, or the I don't want to say the worst effect, but it's the most obviously an effect. Some of the other stuff around that is much better. But overall, really fun stuff. From a special effects point of view. So yeah,
Cool.
So I mean I have to go all the way to Wells to scratch the sci-fi itch, but I finally managed it.
Oh, good.
It's on
It's
Tubi.
pretty cool.
Tubi? Okay.
You went to the wells.
I
Dun,
did.
dun. Draw a pail of water.
I did.
Cool.
Trying to help out Marlon wherever I can, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. Les?
Let's see. A couple things. I watched a documentary on Tubi about the Mandela Effect. I don't know. Have we discussed this before?
Don't think we have.
I think just like Shazam, but
We've talked about the Mandela Effect. I don't think we've talked about this documentary.
mm-mm.
This was an interesting documentary. And they were bringing up various points, which makes sense, but you go, you guys got too much time on your hands to just keep looking at this stuff. And that was fun. The other thing was, I will recommend on YouTube for people to watch Space Ice. This is a
Space Ice?
Space, S-P-A-C-E, I-C-E.
Is that like Ice Pirates or?
It sounds like it, yeah. But it doesn't have anything to do with Ice Pirates. Although, I'm sure they would love to take on Ice Pirates. They have a tendency to find bad movies.
Yeah.
And they really pick on Steven Seagal movies. Which I am just pleased as punch to take a swipe at.
Too easy.
Yeah.
And they talk about Seagal movies as being the worst movie ever made since the last movie he made. So it does make sense.
Yeah.
I watched one today for, what was it? I can't even remember now. It was something god-awful, that's for sure. So if you get the chance, go to YouTube, find that link, and enjoy. It's just fun crap. That's about it for me.
Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I'm still kind of going down the rabbit hole of body cam videos. Some of the highlights, lowlights, they're kind of the same thing here. Of the ones I've seen this last week. Con man, been arrested, had several warrants for his arrest. The video starts with them being in the hospital because he's been brought there to be cleared before going to jail. And apparently he requested to go use the restroom. So he goes to the restroom, locks the door, climbs up and tries to escape through the ceiling.
Nice.
Nothing could go wrong.
Oh, nothing.
So the video is pretty much the officers trying to figure out where he's at, and then figure out. And they finally find him, and then one officer had to go up and get him. And claustrophobia alert, because it happened to me. The dude was between the walls. He had fallen down. He jumped down. I guess he was thinking he can get underneath, but he couldn't. But, I mean...
Please use
What?
your Alexa app to connect to your grocery.
Okay. Sorry. I unplugged the bitch.
Leave that in too, Mike.
I think this counts as an official guest appearance.
Mm-hmm.
She's
But,
just talk happy tonight.
I mean, it's not even shoulder to shoulder. The suspect's a skinny guy, and he's got his shoulders kind of squunched up because it's that tight. I'm like, oh my god, I can't watch this. I really can't.
Nope.
But it was funny because the officer got down there, and then things went black, and you hear, that was a stupid thing to do. Then they had to climb their way back up, and then get out to the ceiling, and then come back down, back to the ladder. So they did get him. And that officer went to one of the nurses or admins or whatever and says, okay, calculate how much damage that was, and we'll get him for that too. So there was that. Y'all probably heard me laughing with this one. I don't remember why she was pulled over in the first place, but she was. Drunk bartender trying to go home.
A drunk bartender.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that was clear.
Yes. Starts flirting with the cops, basically trying to see if she can get away with this. She say, hey, just let me go. You know, that type of shit. And I think she thought she was doing real well until the officer who showed up to do the field sobriety test, which was a woman. And then all of a sudden her attitude changed really quick.
Oh, she's lesbian.
She starts giving this, she's just like, oh, she's pissed. She's like, oh, okay, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
But the thing was, I was thinking, I was like, okay, this officer's going to be female. It's got to be. And she showed up, and I was like, yep. And that's when I lost it.
Yeah, because I don't think male cops can pat a female down. There's too much that can be said, and
well,
you know.
I get that, but this is for the field sobriety.
Oh, yeah.
She was brought in to do the field sobriety test. So, I mean, men or women can do that. So, but it was just funny that it kind of worked out that way. It worked against what she was hoping. But it's so freaking funny. And on a sadder note, and I don't know if Liz is going to want to hear this one.
Uh-oh.
Officers went to a house that had already been investigated, or currently being investigated by CPS due to environmental conditions. We'll just say it that way. There's like 5 kids here. The youngest being an infant. I don't remember how old, just a few months old. The father, I guess the father called the police. I don't know. I'm not sure how it all happened. I don't remember how it all happened, but that's how they showed up. The night before, the infant had suffered over 50 rat bites.
Jesus Christ.
They said some of the fingers you can actually see the bone. That's how bad it was. But the father says he was quiet all night.
Bullshit.
Well,
sorry.
No, guess what the father was supposedly doing during this time? Because he didn't go to bed about 3:30.
Passed out on like fucking that date rape drug?
He said he was vacuuming the house because he was trying to get things cleaned up for his wife to come home. Then you look at the house and you're like, oh, you did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Next time, would you consider turning the vacuum cleaner on?
Yes.
Right. Oh, man.
It's just, I almost didn't want to watch it because I knew I was going to get upset about it. But I was like,
And that many times, that baby didn't stop crying from the first bite.
oh, I know.
Mm.
He said he put the baby, put the baby down at 8:00. The baby woke up about 10:30 wanting something to eat, and then he was fine the rest of the night. I'm like, there's no freaking way.
Man, yeah. There's no way.
There is no way.
Sometimes I wonder when I listen to people and their excuses, it's like, did you say this in your head before you called them and actually listen to what this sounds like? Because
did you really think about this and go, oh, yeah, they'll believe this?
Yeah.
Sure.
If you're drunk and you don't believe it, you think sober person's going to. That's sad.
It's very sad. The thing that makes it even worse is like I said, they're being investigated by CPS, and supposedly there's someone goes over there every week. And there was their representative was there. I don't know, it was like Saturday, Sunday, and I don't know what day this was. So it was obviously a few days ago. It was like, and you didn't give them hell. I was like, y'all are supposed to be cleaning this. He says he's redoing the kitchen. Like, okay, that seems like bullshit to me too, but okay.
Yeah. People disgust me. And even if it wasn't your baby, can you imagine being in the same house with a kid that's crying that way and not do nothing? I mean, just human compassion would make you want to go and make sure everything's okay,
Well, I mean, we're talking about him. The aunt was there because mom was away. I don't remember why she was away. That's why he was supposedly cleaning the house, getting ready for her to come back. And then, like I said, there was 4 other kids. No one else. And the aunt. And now he supposedly fell asleep on the couch at 3:30. I don't know, but I'm like, the baby had to be crying, and no one
screaming,
and no one did anything. I don't get it.
Well, to think that a baby to have the breath of life brought into him at birth has to be slapped, and they start crying, you can imagine if they're bit, they're going to be screaming their head off,
Especially
if a slap makes them cry that much, yeah.
Especially if enough flesh is being taken off to where you're seeing bone
to the bone
on the fingers.
See, I think there's a special place in hell for people like that.
I
think it burns a little harder there too.
If I may, what was the final verdict on the baby?
It was taken to the hospital. I don't remember. There was a lot of things that had to be done. I don't remember too much. I know it had to get it lost so much blood that they had to do a transfusion. I can't remember what else had to be done.
And think about that. Wasn't the Black Plague started by eating after rats? Let alone these things actually biting you and eating on you and putting their saliva in you. I'm sure that baby had staph infections and all kinds of things from that.
I'll have to find it again, and I'll try to come up with a list of what all they had to do for the baby.
Tetanus shot right off the bat for sure.
just hope the baby lived.
Yeah.
I don't remember them saying anything, but it's been a bit since I watched it, so I'll try to get all the information. I don't remember them saying he died, but that doesn't mean it could have been off and on at that point, depending on how. I don't remember how old this particular video was. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I'm dealing with sinuses, so.
The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours before reaching a guilty verdict. The court records show he was sentenced to a total of 16 years, but they got him with child neglect. So if the baby would have died, they would have got him with homicide or something.
Yeah. Yeah, he got child neglect. The aunt got child neglect.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the mom got, because she wasn't there, so she couldn't get the neglect, because she couldn't have been there. The neglect kid, but I don't remember.
Yeah, the aunt took a plea deal and got 2 years probation. But, here's the thing. It sounds like the mom was charged, too. But didn't you say she was gone?
She was away at the time that the incident happened, but, I mean...
That doesn't mean that she didn't live there.
Yeah.
I mean, Because here's the thing, something I left out. They supposedly had Terminix come there several times to deal with the problem. But the thing is, one of the times, the dude says, they come back because there's all this crap around here. You get rid of the crap, you get rid of the rats.
Yeah, and of course they're going to go to what smells like milk, Yeah. Because if their house isn't clean, that baby wasn't clean either, And then they have a related story of him saying, just know I'm still human. No, you're a fucking piece of shit. Yeah, Damn.
Well, since you have that information, could you see... Is there information regarding the baby?
Let's see. They link it to another one. Baby will be permanently disfigured.
Well, yeah.
No, they really go into just the conditions that the baby was living in.
Okay. I'll try to get that information.
A pest control specialist also gave him 5 to 10 reusable rat traps on 2 different occasions, and there was no signs of either of them being used. Yeah.
I mean, there's in that story, there's body cam footage of them going down to the basement, and one of the guys is like, "There's no traps down here. I don't see any."
And they also charged him for 2 more counts of neglect for the kids in the home.
And he had a BB gun in the bathroom to deal with the rats. I mean, can you imagine things being that bad? If you're sitting on the toilet taking a crap and there's a rat, you're going to pull out a BB gun rifle and deal with that? There's something wrong here.
Yeah. And, it doesn't take long to get a rat problem under control.
Yeah.
But, like I said earlier, I live next to a creek. And when we moved in here, the house had sat empty for a couple of months. So to say there was a few mice around, is an understatement. Yeah. But within a week, we had them gone and no signs of them coming back. There's poisons and people you can call to take care of that. And if he had 2 people come in,
I think there was more. I think there was more like 3 or 4 visits from the way it sounded. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Because this has been going. This had been going on for a couple months at least.
Yeah. Yeah, the police say the baby had 50 bites to its forehead, cheek, nose, thigh, foot, and toes. They say his right arm had bites from the elbow down to his hand. All of his fingers had missing and exposed bone. All of the fingers. The affidavit shows his temperature was 93.5, so he was in hypothermia at that time too, and he needed a
Well,
blood
right,
transfusion.
the blood loss alone would do that.
Yeah. And then the dad said he didn't know about the fingers. He just knew about the face. What? So your child's been bit over 50 times, has bone exposed in his fingers, and you didn't even notice that?
He's full of shit.
Yeah, and the other kids were 3 and 6. This baby was 6 months old.
Okay, I was thinking it was like 5 or 6, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and they said found nearly eaten alive.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I mean, they showed the bedroom. He was actually in. They had him in the parents' bedroom in a bassinet, which was literally next to the bed.
God. Yeah, throw him under the cell. But you know what? With as easy it was for me to find this on him, the people that he's in prison with, it's just as easy for them to find this too. And they don't look kindly on things like this. You could have the meanest, baddest murder serial killer in there, and if he finds out you messed with a child,
yeah,
especially this.
I've said it before, Liz, and I'll say it again. You're an optimist.
Yeah. Man.
So
that's sad.
Well, start thinking about the drunk bartender, Dan. Stop thinking about the baby.
Yeah.
And how stupid she was.
They keep linking me to more and more and more.
Stop going down that rabbit hole.
I am closing this out.
This rabbit hole is starting to turn into a Hollow Earth theory. I'm just saying.
Right. Cute, fluffy puppies. Where's Taco? Okay. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why don't you ask Alexa where Taco is?
She's
really.
unplugged. She ain't talking no more.
Siri, upload that video to my iCloud. The garage. I've opened the garage. That was so funny.
I wonder what she's picking up on from me tonight, because normally she's quiet, and I have my headset on, so it's just me.
Darn it! I was going to do Baby Shark, but I plugged anyway. So, well, on that note, let's take a quick break, and we'll get into this week's discussion. Welcome back. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the first project that Marvel and DC ever did together. Most would probably think of the superhero crossovers beginning with the Superman, Spider-Man as the first project, but that's not the case. The two of them got together to do an adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. And the adaptation was written by Roy Thomas with pencils by the great John Buscema. And it was released as a Treasury edition. And if you're not familiar with the Treasury edition, these are humongous size comics. And it was pretty faithful.
2 pages.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this seldom talk about project. Let me go ahead and say something here real quick, because I don't know if I still have it. I was trying to look for it earlier today. But I did have this as a kid, and I just remember how incredibly how incredible the art was.
Mm-hmm.
And the colors and all that, it literally brought the movie to life.
Mm-hmm. I think Marvel got the good end of the deal. DC was going to use the MGM movie, and Marvel was going to use the book that they said had just fallen into fair use. So they would have been it's roughly the same story, but they wouldn't have been telling the story that people had just watched and liked and what was making this so popular at the time.
And by just, the movie had been out for 36 years at the time.
Oh, had it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But, people were more familiar with the movie than they were with the book. So I think Marvel definitely got the good end of it. But it was weird that both of them were working on this without knowing what the other one was doing.
Right.
And it wasn't until Stan Lee actually found out that DC was doing it, and they were like, hey, instead of, taking customers from each other, let's work together on this. And, which I thought was pretty cool,
Mm-hmm.
Very progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Also would have been interesting to hear the conversation between Stan Lee and Carmine Infantino.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. That first phone call. I mean, I'm sure they'd talked before too, but
yeah,
the idea. But just regarding this, working together.
The meeting about working together.
Yeah.
And by having MGM rights, they were able to use characters that people were more familiar with. Or, they could make it look like the, Judy Garland or...
Right, like the movie, like the people in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a big selling point for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Even if you use the movie story, the screenplay, if you will, and genericize the characters, I think it loses something.
Yeah.
It takes away that, like you said, that familiarity that people have with this movie that even in the 70s was getting shown on TV a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a fun idea for this of all things to be the first thing that they collaborate on.
Yeah. And of course, since it went so well, it opened the door, for greater things later.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Like actually sharing characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got to say that it was DC that came out ahead in this because they had the movie rights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had Warner Brothers money behind them too, though.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying Marvel really got the good end because they didn't have to pay for any of that. It was kind of like, let me hang on to your coattails, please.
But it was DC that didn't have to do much work. They kind of just put their name on it and said, yeah, okay, we got part of it.
Right.
Who did you say the artwork was?
John Buscema.
Yeah, and he was Marvel at the time, wasn't he?
So was Roy Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marvel did the work here.
Yeah.
For sure. And fortunately, they kind of knocked it out of the park, and they are the ones who had their names on the cover, so it did look good for them.
And looking this up, I had a hard time finding DC connected to it. I could only find Marvel, and it was like, well, that's weird. And I have this one now too, but I have the reboot, I guess, that Scotty did. I forget who he did that with. But they did do another Oz comic book later.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the things that put Scotty Young on the map.
Mm-hmm.
It was...
I think that was Marvel as well.
Yes, it was.
Was it?
Was Eric Shoutouts.
Most of his work has been for Marvel. Even after he left Marvel, he was still doing covers and stuff for him.
He's pretty much still doing covers for him.
Hmm. I love his art style.
Yep. But yeah, this
Okay.
is 2008.
I found an article from CBR on this also.
Okay.
I don't know if you folks read this or not. Um, it's quotes, from a business standpoint, a comic featuring Dorothy, the Scarecrow, and Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion would surely be a big seller. In fact, the idea of Wizard of Oz comic was such a good idea that Marvel and DC both came up with it roughly the same time.
Hmm.
DC, which was owned by Warner Brothers, paid for the rights to the movie. Marvel chose Frank L. Baum's book. And what they ended up doing was that with this 82-page oversized comic, it was the title of Marvel and DC Present MGM's Marvelous Wizard of Oz. They show a picture of the cover in this article, which says Marvel and DC present MGM's Marvelous Wizard of Oz. So, and this was when this huge collection was only $1.50.
Yeah.
Dang. Now it's about 150.
Oh, I'm sure it's even more.
Yeah.
Because I know that the, what was it, Superman, Spider-Man, or Batman, Hulk, or some of the others were high priced too.
Yeah.
And really, it was, like I said, it was DC just sitting back and going, okay, let us toss our name on it, and we're okie doke with it.
Oh, we'll take half the money.
Yeah.
Oh, they put up
Wow.
a chunk of money to get the
Essentially what
rights.
they did.
Yeah.
How long has Warner Brothers owned DC?
They still do.
Yeah, but how long have they owned
When
them?
did they buy them?
I want to say 60s, late 60s maybe.
I'm not sure.
So, 67. So this was pretty much one of their first things they did, I guess, where they would include WB, you know. I didn't realize they had owned them for that long.
Yeah. It's interesting that this all came together,
Mm-hmm.
and to have these two foes get together and do this was pretty much an amazing thing. We've already discussed it. It led to Spider-Man, Superman. It led to Batman and the Hulk, which I think I still have my copy of that one.
Mm-hmm.
JLA Avengers. So many.
Oh, there's so many, yeah.
If I had my choice to put a DC character up against Marvel, I don't think Superman, Spider-Man would ever come across my mind.
Well, those were the two most popular characters at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that were bringing in the bucks.
Kind of a weird pairing, though, huh?
Yeah.
Anything's going to be a weird pairing with Superman, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I could see him going up against Captain America.
Well, Batman went against Captain America in the Amalgam series.
Oh, yeah?
Well, there was but there was also a crossover too. It took place like in the 40s, which was really good. That was a really good one.
Before Captain America belonged to Marvel.
No, I mean the storyline took place in the 40s.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we had talked about that. Did y'all call them angiograms or
Amalgam.
amalgams? Yeah. I think I collected some of those.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a little harder to find.
But they're good reads.
They are. I think I have Batman. Was it Wolverine?
Yes. Kirklaw.
Yeah. Yep. That one was good.
Yeah. They recently released the omnibus and it's already sold out. I didn't even get a chance to get one.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That'd be cool to have it collected.
Well, the crossovers are collected in the omnibus form. I just hadn't got it yet. Because there's enough of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for those. Because like I said, I did collect some of them. Matter of fact, I think it was you guys that told me about it at Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, Amalgam was fun. There's people still out there who they still do their own things. They'll put their own characters together like that.
Like Bandit?
So yeah.
There's
still a demand if Marvel and DC, or actually in this case it would be Disney and Warner Brothers, if they ever stop doing a pissing contest, they could make more money if they brought back Amalgam.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that because they would be fighting over who gets what and all that
top line and who wins. Be like The Rock all over.
Oh yeah, The Rock never loses. Did you ever see this, Les? Did you ever see this out in the wild? The Marvelous Wizard of Oz?
Did I?
Did you ever see it? Did you ever look at it? Did you even buy a copy?
No, I did not. At that time, I was too much into the superheroes.
Well, I don't remember how I got it, but I got a copy. And like I said, the art is just spectacular, and
it is.
The colors. It's literally the movie in printed form.
Yeah, it's very, very faithful.
It's so beautiful.
I think they did. Dorothy definitely did her justice.
Yeah.
And Toto.
I'm just surprised you didn't name Toto first.
Right.
But anyway.
I didn't want to be weird,
Oh, sure.
What's for now, huh?
Not. Right. Perish the
I
thought.
I did find it funny that they took a scene and have Toto start singing Africa. I was like, that's weird. That's weird.
You might want to bleep that out because it seems like anytime anybody mentions that song or uses that song, it gets taken down. Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon had like a skit. It was their camp skit, and they were singing that song. You cannot find that like anywhere now. They made them take all of those down. It's like, that's crazy, but they're very, very protective of that song. Which is sad. It was so iconic,
Well, and it's funny too because it was a B-side single.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a throwaway song. It was never really intended to be a single. And it became one of their biggest hits.
What they're known for. That skit that Fallon did is hilarious, though.
Well, if we need to bleep it out, I can always say Rosanna.
You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think we're fine just saying the name of the song.
I don't
I'm
know.
not going to drop the song into the recording or anything. Don't worry.
Say, Steve's a snitch.
Now you gonna pick on Steve? Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey,
You are high.
You don't mess with Steve. Steve's awesome. Steve is awesome.
We've already petitioned to take his job down.
Wow.
Looking back at the comic of The Wizard of Oz, I'm going to reiterate that DC got the easy part of all this. Because although my compatriots have said that this followed the movie very well, which it does, I don't doubt that, DEC didn't have to lift a finger for it. They got the rights to the movie, and it looks like Marvel didn't really lean on the book all that much.
Mm-mm.
A lot of the caricatures and things are from the movie itself.
And the events, how it happened, and everything
How
else
it happened,
lined up.
even as the characters looking as they did.
Mm-hmm. They said Dorothy looks just like Judy Garland.
Oh, yeah.
There are times, yeah.
And I think they did a really, really good job. Well, they did a good job on all of them, but I think Glinda was done really well, too.
Glinda I had a little bit of problem with. If you look at the picture of her on page 14 of the book, where she converts from Miss Sculch to the Wicked Witch, personally, I'm not that impressed. But all in all, the idea that it's black and white until she lands in Oz is pulled off well.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
And when I see Glinda, all I can hear is Billy Burke's voice. And that drives me nuts. I thought that she was a good actress, but that voice just drove me crazy.
Yeah, she did overdo it a little.
Not in a good way.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
You always have the ability to go home. Oh, bitch! You should have told me that before you had me steal your sister's shoes.
And who you calling a bitch?
I said witch. Wasn't she a good witch?
Witch, please.
Yeah. Witch, please.
Son of a witch.
I was trying to find that.
Trying to find what?
Where you're talking about Glinda.
Oh, okay. If you go to readallcomics.com, you can find it there.
Yeah, I found it on Read Comics Online.
Uh-huh.
And I guess the page numbering's different. Or it's not wanting to go to that page, so I'm
Oh, really? Huh.
There she is. Okay. I see what you're saying. I do like the way they did her dress, though.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is. Have y'all seen that on YouTube where they're talking about when you find out the good person was actually the villain? And how they went into Glenda and how she got Dorothy to basically kill her sister, steal her shoes, which took her power, just so she didn't have to get her hands dirty. I'll have to find out. And they break it down pretty good where you're like, wait,
Right,
what?
Dorothy was framed, man.
Yeah.
And that's not just a house pun either.
Right. I did think it was weird how close they stayed to this story, though. I don't know. I guess I would have figured if I had rights to the story, I would have changed it up a little.
Yeah, I'm not sure they wanted to do that though, because I mean, they're trying to replicate what was successful already. This is not a creative remake. This is a faithful adaptation, a faithful representation. They don't want to piss off the fans.
Probably the most faithful adaptation. Faithful comic adaptation of the movie.
Right, of the film.
Yeah. It was. I also like how they dedicated the last part of the comic to the people in the movie and the author, and that's nice too. I didn't know a lot of that about Frank Baum. I think this story and Alice in Wonderland have always been real close to my heart. I mean, I have tattoos of both, so they're close to my leg and my arm.
You mean literally close to your heart? Okay, fair enough.
Just as a kid, it was the imaginative world you could escape to,
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I always leaned heavier to Alice, but I liked this one too.
That's because Alice was eating mushrooms and Dorothy was hitting the poppies.
It was all tricky and, yeah.
Right. The difference between hallucinogenics and heroin, don't go anywhere near the heroin. That's bad.
Puppies.
Dorothy went to sleep and Alice was chasing rabbits.
Mm-hmm. Which sounded more fun? Well, obviously the rabbits. Come on.
The rabbits, yeah.
You're still going down rabbit holes.
Yep, she's following her own rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy. Although I've read the Alice in Wonderland books, when I think of it, my mind automatically goes to the Disney versions, though.
That's probably what you were exposed to first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, for me, it was Jefferson Airplane.
Mm.
Yeah.
I am actually kidding, but
I like that song, yeah.
I do. I've always liked that song, but
It's on
no, that's
regular
not really.
rotation. On
I
my
wouldn't call
playlist.
that an Alice in Wonderland adaptation or anything. It's just
Close enough.
a
Yeah.
trippy ass song from the 60s.
Close
Yeah,
enough for government work.
I used to have a blog called If Alice Knew because of that song. Like, well, if Alice knew, she wouldn't have fell down a damn hole chasing rabbits, so don't go ask her.
Well, she also quit taking the pills. But anyway.
Why'd she do that?
Good question.
Yeah. I guess her doctor prescribed her meth too.
And this, folks, is what we call divergent.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
I don't think anybody has actually prescribed meth in decades, so you're probably safe.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No,
I
just
would just like to have people go ahead to that site, readallcomics.com, and find this.
yeah.
Given that it's the 50th anniversary, I wonder if maybe they're considering a reprint.
Hadn't seen anything yet, but
But it's early.
well,
We can hope.
Yeah, that's true.
all right. On that note, we are going to take another break and be back with geek news for you. Welcome back. It's time for Geek News for You. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And this week, it is Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
Yep. This week we're kind of continuing talking about what we've kind of touched on with Diamond. This is it's not the only ripple that causes, but this was definitely a ripple. Valiant Comics is talking about raising their prices now of their comic books because of the tariff increase. I think they're Canadian, so they're talking about making their comics go from $4.99 to $5.99, which understandable. But the sad thing about this is when these tariffs hit, they were in the middle of a deal with Diamond because, of course, we've mentioned Diamond's going bankrupt, but Diamond hasn't paid Valiant since December. So they're kind of hurting a little. Then they find out you're filing bankruptcy. Now they're hit with these tariffs. So it's understandable for them to raise their prices. My question is, in the article they talk about like DC and Marvel and Image and them may be able to absorb those costs a little bit more without it affecting their printing prices, which I don't know. I mean, standard cost now was $4.99. A couple of years ago, $4.99 was like a special edition or, a number one, but it was anywhere from $2.99 to $3.99 for a comic book. And then the special price became normal price. And now with Valiant, their special price is not going to be their normal price, and they're talking about maybe when things get better, they can go back down. And I don't know. I don't see that either. It kind of like with gas and eggs, once you find out what people are willing to pay for those kind of things, you don't typically tend to go down on that because they're going to pay that. So, not just Valiant, but I'm curious if this will make the others raise their prices too. And what we're about to see is another price increase on our comic books.
We will, due to one, paper, because a lot of that comes from the lumber that's from. We're getting a lot of the lumber from Canada.
Yeah.
And the other thing is a lot of the printing of the comics come from Canada.
And I'll be honest, I am shocked that they hadn't raised their prices more than they have in the last 5 to 10 years because costs have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Honestly, in the last 5 years, costs have skyrocketed for materials and such. So I'm a little surprised they haven't done this before.
I think when the pandemic hit, and of course everybody was hurting at that point, and I think they could have at that time raised their prices because they were paying more, had less labor, it was hard on the comic industry, but I don't think they did because they knew as much as we're hurting right now, our customers are hurting too. Not saying there isn't any, but most comic book readers and subscribers are just your everyday Joe Americans. They work 9 to 5, they have a blue collar job, they're not making big bucks, their splurges on their comic books are their treat. And in a case like that, that's who you're hurting, is your bread and butter, your people you can depend on. So I think that's why they didn't during that time and kind of ate that cost for a while. but now being under different circumstances where, like you said, they're printing their paper, everything is coming from a place where now we have, what is it, a 25% tariff laid down on them?
Yes.
So.
Not as of today.
Yeah. As of this recording, it's 25%.
Yeah. But then Canada's
Yeah.
hit back and said they're going to charge us even more for any products that we would use. So their lumber is going to cost an American company more to get a hold of. So I think this is just the start. I think it's not just Valiant. I mean, like I said, I completely understand with Valiant. They were double whammied on this. They were dependent on Diamond. Then Diamond stopped paying them, and now Diamond's going bankrupt. They were already hurt before the tariffs came in. So, but I think the bigger guys are now going to go, maybe it's our time to get in on this. Let's just see. So maybe we'll start seeing our special comics with the special prices stay a little more normal or become the norm for them, just to see. People are going to buy it. Why not?
Well, here's the thing. As someone who has started looking at stuff on Reddit, now I take stuff with a grain of salt on there, but there's been a lot of discussion regarding the situation. And the general view I'm getting from what I've been reading is that they're going to stop buying floppies, period.
Mm-hmm.
If they're buying any floppies, it's going to be back issues.
Yeah.
And there may be a push toward digital. There may be a lot of people going to digital instead of buying a physical copy, or they just be doing trades or going back to buying back issues. That's what I had been reading just today.
Yeah. See, I had thought that it was a big push to go to digital, but in a case like this, would digital not help Valiant? Then you wouldn't have to worry about a tariff. And everybody who makes a comic book, when you send it off to get it printed, is the same thing you would use to put it digitally online. So you already are making and have that resource. So why not?
Well, I mean,
not that I like digital comics, but
I mean, they could adopt the philosophy of what I mentioned last week with the Indie Planet website. You just print on demand.
Yeah.
If you want a digital copy, you can go to their store and buy a digital copy. You want one printed, they would have to figure out a way how to print it and make it worthwhile for everybody involved.
Yeah. I
mean, they could do that, but that seems. I don't know. I hadn't thought much to it in it.
I think we will see a lot of them go digital just to get a work around this price increase right now. But here's another good question. Would you pay $6 for a digital comic?
No.
See, I wouldn't either.
A comic as in a 32-page book as it is right now, no.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't either.
If there's more pages where it seems like it's a little bit more of a value, I'll consider it, depending on how badly I want that book.
Yeah. See, in most places that offer digital comics, it's a subscription. And then you read what you want,
Mm-hmm. But I mean, and that's a valid point, because I look on Amazon and I look at their digital copies, and it's almost as much as the physical copy. I'm like, well, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, let me have the physical copy.
Yeah.
While I can.
See, here's where I'm crazy. I don't mind paying that on Amazon Because most of the time I can do like delay my delivery and I can get $1, $2 credits and that kind of thing. And then I can turn around and I can buy audio books or digital books or whatever with those credits that they give me. So,
But can you actually keep them?
see, and that's what I'm curious about. I know on my Kindle, yes, but I was,
Because
when they had Comixology.
Yeah.
And all those people who bought their digital comics through that, I'm curious, did they get to keep those when they closed the doors on that? Did they keep them?
I believe they didn't.
See, and that's the only thing I also don't like about the digital push. I have a lot of movies now that I own, like through Amazon and stuff, from buying them digitally, and it's like, well, what happens when Amazon closes their doors?
Yeah.
You know, are they going to give me a chance to download this or put it in a cloud for me? Or in a way, it would almost be a breach of their contract because you agreed to have this for me, you know?
Well,
So,
good luck on
suing Amazon. Yeah. Maybe if I buddy up to Elon, he'll help me. But yeah. I've always been curious about that. And I think that's a big draw away from digital comics is you don't really own it. That was like me talking about selling stuff in a virtual world. Yeah, they own it for now, but once that game closes the doors, I ain't giving them money back.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on where you're getting your books. Because I bet you anything with Indie Planet, I bet you will download a digital copy of that book that you bought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anything I've bought off Kickstarter where they give you the digital copy too, you download that copy in a PDF or whatever.
Well, that was what that promised for Amazon and some of those others. They don't.
See, in Amazon,
you want a digital copy? Here you go.
They have comic books on their Kindle, so I'm wondering if Comixology just didn't go over to Kindle then. You know, which sucked for people who don't have Kindle, but you know, it would still be a way that you could keep your comic books. But the comic books I have on there, I don't know where I bought them. I don't know if it was off Comixology or off the Kindle app. So.
Yeah,
there's a van down by the river. It said free comics on the side.
Right. Yeah. I got it. Here I am.
Yeah, they've been trying to push me on that. I'm like, no. If I'm getting anything from you, it's a physical copy.
Yeah. See, and of course, I don't see Amazon going anywhere anytime soon, but, you know, that is a good point. And even if, you know, I'm sure someone like Madeline would help you, but on a Kickstarter where you buy the digital copy that you download and you accidentally delete it or you change computers and want another copy, is there a way to get another digital copy? Or is that it? You know, you screwed up. Put it on a zip drive. So, yeah. Like I said, I definitely will be keeping an eye on this because I'm curious, you know, for one, about the digital push, but on this price push now, too. And with a new price point, it may be the final thing that does kind of push people over to digital. I don't know. I still like holding it in my hands, so. And until my Kindle smells like a new book, it's just not going to work for us.
Well, I mean, there's still people out there that rather have LP.
Yeah.
And rather have vinyl.
A lot.
See, and it always goes down to quality. I like holding it in my hands because you get a better quality than you're getting on digital. LPs sound better than CDs. Definitely sound better than tape. Right. Don't come at me.
And also, you can go get a candle that smells like a new book.
Not to say.
No, it's not. I know.
I'd burn my nose trying to sniff that thing.
Not so close, Liz. Not so close.
So I ought to see if Cincy has a new book smell. They have the new car. What about a new book?
It's worth a check, man. I'm saying.
But like going into a library or a museum.
Those are not new books. Those are old books. That's different.
But it's the ink and the paper and
the mold. And,
Yeah, well,
Oh.
that's just an enhancer.
That's like adding cinnamon. Right.
Right, or salt, Yeah, can't beat that. Even on a new book, bust it open and smell it. Nerd porn.
And now we're on to inhalants. But anyway.
Are you surprised, Mike?
Not really, no.
Yeah. Okay. As we all kind of know, we're in awards season. We just had Golden Globes here a couple weeks back, and
the Grammys were last night.
Well, Grammys were last night. We'll have the Academy Awards here toward the end of the month, if not mistaken. One of the segments that's always done on Academy Awards is a segment of a little presentation of people who we've lost in the past year.
Now, when they do this, is this for 2024?
Yeah.
It'll be everybody who passed away since the last.
Sounds like we're just a month into this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'll be everybody since March or February of last year. So,
okay.
And unfortunately, there's times where some actors don't make it on that presentation. Well, in the case of one particular actor, was left off the 2023 list, and because that happened, we are getting a documentary about her. And the documentary is titled Stella Stevens, The Last Starlet. This is going to be directed by her son, which I did not know he was her son. I hadn't even thought about that. Andrew Stevens.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard that somewhere along the line.
So, it's currently being shopped for the distributor. She passed away in 2023 at age 83 from advanced Alzheimer's disease.
Mm-hmm. Horrible way to go.
Yeah. So this sounds really interesting. He says some of it will be scripted, but most of it's going to include footage and interviews, including Leonard Maltin and one of Stella Stevens' biggest fans, Quentin Tarantino. So, of course, she's been in several movies like Little Abner and The Poseidon Adventure, The Nutty Professor, and so on and so forth. And she was one of those, I guess you call them sex icons, whatever, along the lines of Marilyn Monroe, Mamie Van Doren, Jane Mansfield, and all of them.
She's beautiful.
She's very beautiful. So I'm excited about this. This would be really interesting to hear her story. So
that will.
Agreed.
I hope it does get a distributor here real quick, and we can get this scene, and maybe she can get the
recognition.
The recognition that she deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is very cool.
Yep.
I mean, it's a sad way.
Cool.
It's a sad way for this to happen, but I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah.
So.
Well, did they say why they left her off?
No. Well, I mean,
she's been in film since the 60s.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, let me pull up this article again, because you're going to be. I saw the list of snubs, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, And she's even an award winner.
Mhm.
So it's not like she's a nobody or just, a nameless actress.
Here's just a couple of names that were left off that in memoriam segment. Tom Sizemore, Leslie Jordan, Anne Hesh, Paul Sorvino. Paul frickin' Sorvino was not on the in memoriam. Can you frickin' believe that?
No.
I'm having a hard time believing any of these names were.
Right.
Right.
Especially ones that just pop at you,
Yeah, I mean, all four of those, you're just going, wow,
Mhm.
okay. I mean, I don't know. So, well, good on him for doing this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a good son.
Mm-hmm. So, alrighty. Any special mentions or shout-outs this week?
Not me.
No.
Just want people to have a happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, there's that.
There's that.
I'm thinking
Happy Single Awareness Day, guys.
Yeah. Chocolate commercial day.
Chocolate.
In the words of Leanne, blah.
Wow. You need to work with her.
Oh, she loves chocolate. But
Okay, good.
everything else is blah.
Okay. All right, we'll just move on to our regular shout-outs then. I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be a part of a great little podcast network. We suggest that you check them out. There'll be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter/X by retweeting our links, and that is Podern Family. And the best way to check them out is to just do a search, #Podern Family, all one word. Just scroll through, whatever catches your attention, by all means, click on that link and download that episode, and I hope you have a great time listening to them. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. There'll be a link in the show notes where you can check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. The best way to reach out to us, we have our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. We do have a Discord. I believe it was mentioned earlier. I don't remember. That you can join. Sign up for Discord is free. The app is free in the app stores. We do have an open invitation on our homepage. In our Discord, we post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at, music, trailers. By the way, of course, it's going to be old news by the time this comes out. Tomorrow, we're getting a trailer for Fantastic Four. For February 4th, F4. That's a smart thinking.
Cool. Yeah.
And we'll have activities like movie night or that kind of stuff on there. So come join us today if you want to hang out with us. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Twitter/X, Instagram, and Blue Sky, we're @Fellowship Geeks. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter or X accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,